And welcome to another episode of the Buffoons Sports Cast. I'm your host for today, Troy Alexander. With me, me, myself, and I, and a little thing I like to call NBA basketball. We are back, baby. I am so stoked to finally have the season back. Excuse my sound quality here. I'm trying to speak quietly. All the kids are asleep, so I'm not trying to wake anybody up. But it's funny. I'm literally sitting on my couch, like right before I decided to record tonight, watching the doubleheader on ESPN, and I have my phone in my hand watching NBA League Pass. And I literally have two games on at once, and I am just so stoked to finally have the season back. But along with that comes, excitement, disappointment, and I really wanted to kick off this episode. It's going to be a short episode tonight, 20, 30 minutes or so probably. Just wanted to kind of talk about opening night. That happened Tuesday night, and I want to start with the Pelicans and Raptors game. So, really interesting game. It went to overtime, and it was just kind of, I'm looking at the stats for the game and the box score, and they were pretty much even in just about everything. Like, total rebounds, 53 to 57, defensive rebounds, 37 to 41, offensive rebounds tied. New Orleans had 7 more assists than Toronto did, and free throw percentage was just about the same. Pelicans shot actually 7% better from 3-point range and shot 2% more better just overall field goal percentage, which is a little surprising to me because I felt like coming into the season, one of New Orleans' weaknesses is going to be shooting, because I literally look at that roster and they have like Alexander Walker off the bench, and assuming when Zion comes back from his meniscus tear, they're not going to be starting JJ Redick anymore, even though I still think they should. They just don't have a lot of shooting, but I'm trying not to gauge too much based off of one game out of 82 games, right? This is opening night. You never really want to base anything off of the first game of the season, and it's hard to gauge kind of a read on teams just literally by one game. So I don't want to look too much into it, but I definitely want to dissect both games for opening night. And as I'm recording this, more games are going on, and hopefully during the week I will be able to jump on here and kind of just throw some analysis at you guys and let me know what you think. But I felt like New Orleans had kind of a stranglehold on the game most game, and then come fourth quarter and overtime, you start to see a young team versus a veteran team that's been here before. And Toronto's been in the playoffs, consecutive years. They didn't just win a championship last year. They've been in the playoffs multiple years. Kyle Lowry's been here before. Serge Ibaka's been here before. Marc Gasol's been in the playoffs before. So you've got a lot of veterans on this team that know how to win and that have been here before. And when you play a team like New Orleans, a team that hasn't been here before, you really start to see growing pains and the youth of a team. And when it really came down to it, I feel like even though it was a close game, and most of the stats say that it was a close game, just overall, I think Toronto made the necessary plays to close the game out. And that's why I always pick a veteran team over a young, more athletic team, just because best tool in life is experience, I feel like. So anytime you've got that, you're good to go. I don't know. There's not really too much to talk about that. It's hard to gauge New Orleans right now because they don't have Zion, and I really want to see them in a regular season with Zion. But Toronto looked pretty good. I had Toronto in this game, even with a healthy 100% Zion Williamson. Pascal Siakam clearly proved he's worth the extension that he got. I think he had like 34 34, 35 points, 18 rebounds, and like 5 assists. He played unbelievably. And I felt like Toronto should have won by more than 10 points if they would have just pulled Marc Gasol. Like, I felt like Marc Gasol was just slowing Toronto down, and because of how young New Orleans was, their speed was getting to Toronto a little bit. But, I mean, Nick Nurse stayed with Marc Gasol, and they ended up winning the game. But, you know, there's a lot of question marks with Toronto. You know, what are they going to do with Ibaka and Gasol and last years of our contracts? Maybe they'll get moved. I'm curious to see maybe what they do with them. But I still think Toronto is a playoff team. I think they'll probably be like the 3rd or 4th seed in the East. Now to segue to the Battle of Los Angeles. So this game was frustrating from a Lakers standpoint. I just think, I mean, the Clippers were plus 41 in bench points. I mean, they had the number 1 bench in the league last year. Because, I mean, you have Lou Williams coming off the bench who's going to give you 20 to 25 points every single night. He's not going to defend a lick for you. He's not going to defend anything. But that doesn't really matter because the Clippers can cover up his defensive weaknesses because they have so many good defenders on their team. And, you know, they put the Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams package in the game, and the Lakers just literally just could not stop that 2-man game. And I'm going to go into deeper analysis on it. It wasn't just the 2-man game that was ultimately the Lakers' demise. It was way more than that, man. I mean, Frank Vogel's coaching was very questionable. I mean, keeping, you know, Dwight in there or keeping McGee in there when, you know, you're being outscored, you're being outpaced by the Clippers was very questionable. I'll get into it more, but I'm pulling up the box score right now and the numbers and matchups and everything. So I'm looking at it right now. Clippers didn't really beat the Lakers by too many more rebounds. They got 4 more rebounds than the Lakers. 24 assists to 20. Clippers shot 52%. Lakers shot 43%. Lakers actually shot better from 3-point range. Free throw percentage was pretty much the same. But when you look at it, I looked at it as an effort standpoint. And when your 2 centers, being JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard, have a combined 8 rebounds, and Patrick Beverley, a point guard that's probably 6 feet tall max, has 10 by himself, to me, that's an issue. That's just an effort issue. There is a reason JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard have been journeymen in the NBA. At times, their effort has come into question. And last night, their effort came into question. Along with that, I think LeBron struggled as well. I know he had 18, 20 points maybe, but he also had 5 turnovers. And I know Kawhi Leonard had 5 or 6 turnovers himself, but he was affecting the game in so many aspects. And not saying LeBron James wasn't affecting the game in a lot of aspects, because he had tons of defensive plays in that game that just raised your eyebrows. Like, okay, maybe he still does have it on defense. But at the same time, every time LeBron is on a team, he is your best player. I felt like LeBron, I mean, he's your best player, and he always sets the tone for your team. I feel like when they started the game out, he really set the tone for the Lakers, and they all followed suit. As the game went on, I think LeBron started being a little passive. He started to kind of push things a little more than he needed to. He had a bunch of open threes that he just decided not to take, and he decided to just pound the ball into the post to Anthony Davis. If that's the route you want to go, and you want to pound the ball into the post to Anthony Davis, one, I have an issue with that because that's not who Anthony Davis is. And secondly, that play style is kind of not really NBA-esque anymore. There isn't a team that really just pounds you in the post and beats you down. And you would think that because of the size differential between the Lakers and the Clippers, the Lakers would be killing the Clippers on the boards, getting stops and running. That wasn't the case. The Lakers, I felt like as the game went on, the Lakers the effort just was not there. I just feel like the Clippers wanted it more. And going back to the post thing, you cannot be throwing the ball into the post and running an offense based on post game when you have one shooter on the floor. The defense is only going to respect Danny Green. When you have a lineup of JaVale McGee, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Danny Green, and Avery Bradley, out of all of those guys, you are only going to respect one 3-point shooter, and that is Danny Green. So when you get the ball into the post to Anthony Davis, the floor is not spaced out enough for Anthony Davis to operate in the paint. Defense are just going to clamp down and double up Anthony Davis. He makes a simple pass, and hopefully they skip it around to Danny Green. That's great and all, but it's easier for a defense to guard one 3-point shooter rather than 2-3. If you want to run that type of system, Frank Vogel, you need to give him more shooters. And right now, from a personnel standpoint, the Lakers don't have that type of team. You can't be a post type of team if you don't have shooters. And I don't even think you should be a post team to begin with. That's not even who Anthony Davis is. I feel like LeBron forced it into the post to Anthony Davis a lot. I think he was trying to show Anthony Davis that this is your team, go and carry us, but that didn't work out very well. Clearly, the Clippers bench, as we've all known and seen since last year, is far superior and the best bench in the NBA. And I think the Lakers are probably 2 moves away. They're way behind the Clippers right now. Like I said, I don't want to try to judge a lot based on one game, especially the first game of the season. But it's still worrisome to see some things that happened in that game. Like, you can't let a team go plus 41 on you off the bench. That it's so hard to win in the NBA if the team you're playing is plus 41. That is a gargantuan number. And I also really want to get to Kawhi Leonard. I really wish I would have seen more LeBron James guarding Kawhi Leonard, because Kentavious Caldwell-Pope absolutely got grilled. Just grilled. Like, the size differential is like my stepson trying to guard me in basketball right now, and he's 10 years old. I'm 27 years old. I'm clearly going to back him down and be able to rise up above him and get easy shots. Now, I'm not saying Kawhi Leonard made easy shots, because he was making some fadeaway mid-range shots were very difficult to make. But when you have Kawhi Leonard's body and you're able to get the ball above your head, it's so much easier to make those shots. And you would think that Vogel would put more size on Kawhi to make it a little more difficult, but nope. He stuck with KCP on him. KCP had 0 points to go along with just not being able to guard Kawhi to save his life. And Kawhi feasted. And that's what I want to get to. Kawhi was shooting 7 for 8 when KCP was guarding him. When Danny Green was guarding him, Kawhi Leonard shot 4 for 12. And Vogel's coaching was kind of questionable. There were multiple times where Kawhi would come into the game and Danny Green would be sitting. And if you're not having LeBron guard Kawhi when Danny Green is sitting, that's a lose-lose for you. You need to have one of the two out of those guys guarding Kawhi Leonard at all times. You should not be having anyone else guarding Kawhi Leonard, because there's no one else in that team that's able to. So, Danny Green was his teammate in San Antonio. He was his teammate in Toronto. He knows how to play Kawhi Leonard. And next time these teams play, I'm hoping, for just, a fan's standpoint, that Vogel's able to make those adjustments. And I think the Lakers also really struggled with shot creators and ball handlers. I really not that big a fan of Rajon Rondo. but I honestly think he would have paid a lot of dividends in this game. I think for that second unit especially, they really struggled to score because you just didn't have anyone to operate anything. No one can get an easy shot. So, right, Rajon Rondo in that equation, maybe guys are able to get easier shots. And outside of, I think the Lakers need one more. I think they need a scoring point guard and definitely a wing defender. They need more wing help for sure. Like I said, I think they're 2 moves away. I don't know how you gauge the trade market with no assets. I mean, the Lakers literally traded the entire farm for Anthony Davis. But then you look at the Clippers, they didn't have to trade their entire farm for Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. I know they gave up 6, 7-round draft pick, first-round draft picks, all for Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, but you also didn't give up your bench for it like the Lakers did. The Clippers gave up Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and they also gave up Danilo Gallinari, but with those guys, you got Paul George, and you didn't have to trade away, Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, any of your key core bench players. And I think that's paying the biggest dividends right now. Is maybe if the Lakers didn't have to trade away at least one of their pieces or a first-round pick, they can maybe get a point guard on the market right now. I mean, you'd probably have to wait a little bit if you're the Lakers to make a move, but they just don't have assets to make a move. So you have to wait for the buyout market. I mean, we'll see what happens with Andre Iguodala. Maybe... I mean, the Lakers they couldn't score really anything off the bench. Maybe there's a guy you go after like Jamal Crawford, worst case scenario. I mean, he's not the worst player in the world to come off your bench. He can still probably give you 10, 15 points by himself. And I think the Lakers really needed that last night. So, I mean, I've got some takeaways from the game. I've got some positives for the game. I sound so pessimistic talking about the game right now. But I think some of the positives is, if you're a Lakers fan, you say, well, we didn't have Rajon Rondo, we didn't have Kyle Kuzma. Okay. On the flip side, if you're a Clippers fan, you still feel really good because you won without Paul George. And 2, you're going to look absolutely way more fantastic with Paul George. So either way, it's a win-win for the Clippers. And to me, I mean, the Clippers look really good. I think the Lakers are still a few moves away. We'll see how they address that. But overall, man, I just am so damn excited for the season, and I'll be watching multiple games every single night, Monday through Sunday, and I'm just pumped. And one last thing I really want to go back to with the game, with the Lakers and Clippers game, is, I'll be the first to admit I follow LeBron James a lot. I'm a big fan of his, and I've had a lot of heartbreaks with him. I've had some celebrated victories seeing him play, and so I've seen a lot when watching LeBron James. And as great as Anthony Davis is, the best teammate LeBron James has ever had has been Kyrie Irving. Even more than Dwayne Wade in his prime, I think Kyrie Irving and LeBron James complemented their games so well. I think that's the type of point guard you need to put with LeBron. I don't think LeBron should be playing point guard. LeBron is a wing, and a wing is the most important position in the NBA in today's game. That's just how it is. And I'm not saying you're going to be able to get a Kyrie Irving-esque point guard. Like, Kyrie's a generational offensive talent. He's amazing. But you got to get some type of point guard that can play with LeBron in the starting lineup that can score. I'm not saying he shoots 45% from three. I'm not even saying he shoots 40% from three. I'm saying he makes good decisions. He's able to get his own shot, and he's able to knock down threes at a reasonable level. Let's just say 35 to 37%. That might be even asking too much. And that player is not Rondo. I don't think Rondo should be starting. I think Rondo should be coming off the bench if he's going to play at all. I don't think he's a good fit next to LeBron. There is a reason LeBron's only teammate that he was minus with last year was Rajon Rondo. Historically, LeBron teams have been, LeBron has the ball, and I'm going to pick a team apart in the pick and roll game, and you surround me with 4 shooters. I will get it to the open shooter every time, and we will be successful on this end. That's ideally what LeBron James lineups have always looked like. And the Lakers don't have the personnel for that right now. So I think the best way to complement LeBron right now is to try to find him some type of scoring point guard. I don't know if that's going to be on the buyout market later on. If you somehow, some way facilitate a trade to get someone, maybe like a Jeff Teague from Minnesota, I think would be a really cool fit. They'd have to, sweeten the trade up a lot. I don't see how it's going to even happen, but I'm just kind of spitballing ideas here. But I think the Lakers are just a few moves away. And not enough pick and rolls. Barely enough pick and rolls with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Like, I thought that would be the Lakers' bread and butter the whole season. I just don't see how teams stop the pick and roll with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I just feel like that's a deadly combination. And I don't think the Lakers ran enough of that. So I'm hoping Vogel figures this out. They've got Utah on Friday. We'll see what happens. But, I mean, outside of just some things that I assume the Lakers will fix, I really enjoyed opening night. They were both super competitive games. Like, the Lakers and Clippers game felt like a playoff game. The opening night felt like a playoff game. And that is crazy because we don't see that really on opening night. And it's just really nice to have some parity, some change in the NBA that we haven't had in a long time. I mean, the last 5 years, the Warriors have just pretty much dominated. I know they haven't won every single title the last 5 years, but they've dominated. And it's been kind of boring. So I'm just really glad that we've got so many duos in the NBA. And I am just so excited. Like, I was watching the ESPN game. I'm still watching it right now. Portland and Denver. And in my hand, I'm scrolling through League Pass. And I'm like, oh, Utah and OKC are in a close game. Now, OKC's not going to be a good team, but Utah's good. And I want to see how Utah's going to acclimate their new players. Turn that game on. Donovan Mitchell looks like he's bound to maybe have an all-star year this year. I'm wondering if Team USA is going to, maybe have boosted his play a little bit. And I don't know, man, just on top of him, there's so many other players that I think are just going to have breakout years. And it's just going to be an amazing season. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you want more of these recordings, if you want me to kind of dissect some of the games going on during the week. I'm always down to do that. I love talking basketball. Just get at me, guys. We're on Spotify. We are on iTunes. We are all over social media. Buffoons Sports Talk. I look forward to hearing all of your questions, all of your comments. Let me know. Let all the guys know. Let the other buffoons know. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. Take care. Bullet, take it away.